When evil is the outcome, stupidity is always the cause. Nobody is evil, but they are incompetent. And guess what? Nobody wants to be dumb. Nobody wants to be evil, and they're not. They're just stupid, and I'll prove it to you. Stupidity has a cure. It's called the truth. Stupidity just comes from us accepting something as truth that isn't. Simple as that. No one calls you stupid when you admit that you don't know something and seek the right answer. People call you stupid when you assume you know the right answer when it's wrong. The more incorrect beliefs you hold, the stupider you become. Easy correction. Believing in the truth. I mean, after all, how could you be smart when the basis of what you believe is based on a lie? See, it's not that they lack the mental capacity to be smart. It's that they believe so many untrue things that they don't even have a foundation to stand on for thinking. My point in this isn't to call anybody dumb for the fun of it, but it's to provide you for a real reason for forgiving people. Because they wouldn't choose to be dumb. No one chooses to be evil. I want to explain it like this. The world is full of opposites. Good, bad, peace, chaos, light, and dark. You gotta ask yourself the question, is everything a binary between two things? No. It's actually more like a spectrum, right? A spectrum between good and bad. You can fall anywhere in the middle, right? Or is it really all just one big illusion? See, I'm telling you, one end of the spectrum doesn't exist. Only good exists and evil doesn't. The same way only light exists and darkness doesn't. You can bring a light into the room. You can never bring darkness into the room. The only thing that you can ever do to make it seem dark is to block out light. To block the truth. The truth is light in this wonderful little metaphor here. You see? And that is why I say the truth will get rid of evil. Because they're only acting evil because they don't know the truth. Do you see what I'm saying? We might think that it gets dark at night, but the sun never stops shining. The night is an illusion. When it's night here, it's not somewhere else. It's experienced as real, but it isn't. People aren't evil. They block their good. They block their light. And they become very dark in the process. Why would somebody block the good? Think about it from your own perspective. Have you ever blocked the good? I have. I'll tell you an example. I saw a man on the street. He clearly needed help. I did not stop to help him because I was worried he might hurt me. I blocked my good out of fear. Fear is what makes us block our good. We're human. While we may be spiritually evolved, we still live in a very biological body. A body that wants to keep us alive and uses fear to keep us safe. But what happens when we don't want to live as animals do? What happens now that we are evolving past our basic animal nature? We're sort of witnessing our own evolution, where some are figuring out how to get out of the survival animalistic mindset, and others can't conceive of letting it go out of fear. Now, in my last video, I said that everybody wants peace. And I didn't say how I knew that last time because I wanted to save it for now. This is how I know everybody wants peace. We can exclude the people that obviously want it, and we can move on to the people that don't. Every single person you will observe that doesn't like peace always is trying to gain control, Power, control, money, all interconnected. What is control? Control is simply the disguised want for peace. You see, when you have temporary control of something, it feels peaceful. And if you've never experienced peace, that's the closest thing you've ever come to it. It naturally leaves you wanting more without ever realizing that you're buying a knockoff of the thing that you really want. Worse than a knockoff, actually. A trick, a sleight of hand. Because by the same means you are trying to attain peace, you destroy it. Control is the natural outcome of combining love with fear. And control in itself isn't necessarily evil or bad. I control my dog every single day because I love him. I don't let him do whatever he wants because he would eat until he threw up and he would run in the road. My love and my fear makes me control him. If you love yourself and you're afraid, you want control. It's the natural outcome. And to have control over your own life, you have to have control over a lot. Everybody's fighting for the control of you, and we all want the control of ourselves. Control can be a form of protection. There's a lot of alluring factors to control, and I don't blame anybody for seeking it as a solution. And I'm not immune to doing it either. In most situations, the bad guy becomes the bad guy because it's less scary. The bad guy isn't the victim. The bad guy is the one in control. The bad guy feels good. It feels safe in a very scary world. Think about the bad things that you have done in life, or maybe even evil. Think about what the root cause of them was. It will always be confusion and fear. Every single time. Trace it back every single time. It will be confusion or fear. I'll tell you the story of the most evil man I've ever met. He was so evil that it triggered the part of my brain that was simply curious. One day when he was bragging to me about taking control of a meeting and doing something particularly very mean to do so, I asked, "What motivates you to be like that? That isn't a normal behavior. What made you one day just say, 'This is how I'm going to be'? Because how you act is totally socially unacceptable. So what emboldened you in your life to just accept yourself for being that way?" And he told me, he said, "For the first 35 years of my life, I was treated like a workhorse. I was treated small, less than. I didn't have any power. I didn't have any say." He said I had to go to my job every day, no matter how my boss treated me. He said one day, he just decided, "I'm going to be myself." And he started being forceful, and he started being aggressive. And he said it got him further in 1 year than he had gotten in all 35. And ever since that day, he never felt a need for change. If this is what works in the world, then why not be this way? See, the biggest mistake he made, and where his biggest confusion comes from, is he thought that when he changed at 35 years old, when the world was so cruel to him, that he felt it necessary to use force to make his way through. He thought that that was the real him. How does that make sense? How would you not be born as the real you? How would the you that was born into the world not be the real you? This isn't the real you. This is the you that you created to survive in a world that is unfair. This isn't you. And now you're the boss. Now you're the boss creating the same exact situation that you wanted to escape from. You became the thing that you hated. I mean, it's one thing to play the game, but once you win, flip the table. He said, "You know what? Maybe you're right. And then he said something else. He said, I've been studying you. I said, you've been studying me? He said, yes, I've been studying you because I want to know how you always get your way. And you never use force. He said, yeah, I noticed right away that you always get your way. And people always like you. And that you don't have to follow the rules. And nobody cares. And you don't have to force people to get your way. They just listen to you. And I was studying that. How you got people to do that, agree with you so often. And at that moment, a light bulb went off for me. Because he was far more successful than I was, by a long shot. His way was working. His way was working. Why would he be studying a less forceful way to move through the world if he didn't want to be less forceful? So that let me know everything that I needed to know, that he didn't want to be that way at all. He just didn't want his old life. He didn't want to feel underneath of somebody else's thumb, which is exactly what I was saying in my first video that I've ever made on this channel, which is what everybody wants is their full freedom. And that is all we want. And people will go to any length to get it that they can. And that's why we're getting all of what we think is evil. And really, it's not. And really, there's one simple rule that if we all followed it, we could all live in peace. Everything comes down to this one thing: do to others as you would want done to yourself. It really only comes down to one thing. There is a reason that every single religion preaches the exact same concept. So, reasonably, how do we walk towards that? How do we take steps towards even living in a place where that's a possibility? How we'll get to where we want to get is to slowly over time make environments safer and safer for people. And not just physically safe, emotionally safe. We have to stop ostracizing people. We have to stop making fun of people for things. We have to stop making people the butt of jokes. We need to stop openly expressing hate for things that ultimately don't matter. Because you can do something as simple as say that you hate blondes. And while you might not think that that has implications, subconsciously on people, it does. See, I don't think people really realize the power of their words. Our words create the safety of our environments. We can't start with the big things. The big things are too much of a leap to ask for. Realistically, people are going to be too afraid to take those big leaps, but what we can do is, even in the smallest ways, make safer and more accepting environments for everyone. Instead of sending subconscious cues that you could be ridiculed or ostracized for any reason, really, we need to do the opposite. We need to start sending subliminal messages of unconditional acceptance. It's not going to be unconditional at first for all of us, I can guarantee you that, but a little less conditional than we're currently doing would be nice. And it would get us pretty far. Like I've said before, this is never going to be the flip of a switch where one day we can just totally make a change and be all the way on the other side of the spectrum illusion. It's going to happen in small ways. And that's actually good. It means that you don't have to take any extreme changes in behavior and apply them to your life. It means that you just have to do the little things and that they add up to make a big difference over time. If you want something very interesting to do in life when you deal with people that are less than savory, instead of focusing on what they're saying, focus on why they would say that. The more you focus on why they would say that, you start to see the underlying motivation to pretty much every action that people take. People either act out of fear or out of love. Those are literally the only two motivators to action. that you will ever see. You even supply your basic needs because you love yourself. I mean, come on. When you love yourself, you supply yourself with healthy, nourishing food. Even our basic needs come down to love. And we know this because when people don't love themselves, they starve themselves, they develop eating disorders, they eat terribly and absolutely ruin their health. I mean, every single action will always it will come from one of two things, love or fear. And the more you observe that, the simpler life gets and the easier people become to understand. And honestly, the easier people become to forgive. My whole point in giving this entire framework is to make it very easy to forgive people. A lot of us are traumatized by people who hurt us out of confusion. While I wouldn't recommend trying to forgive the worst person you know right away, that's a little bit unfair to yourself. Practice on some easier subjects first. I would suggest that you use this method to really evaluate a couple of people in your life. Evaluate why they did what they did and see if you can learn how to forgive them through understanding that if they knew better, if they could do better, they would do better. And how they're on an endless search to get the need met that they don't even know how to name. They don't even know that they want peace. That's why they accept less than it. Anyway, that's my little rant for today. And the next little rant I have is about how free will is not free. You gotta earn it. And it comes at a cost. I guess it is free because you don't gotta pay to earn it, but you gotta earn it. Okay? So that's what I'm gonna be talking about very, very soon. Anyways, bye.